Hello, friends. Welcome back to Em Larnz Sip and Spiral podcasting.
Hello.
How are you?
Plodding along as we do every day, don't we? I mean, as we can see, I'm all rugged up and you're all summer ready.
That's right. 28 degrees over here.
It's 9.3 degrees here in Perth, and I'm getting the good old dragon breath outside when you blow. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, I'm getting probably the end of a dragon breath, the humid with the droplets in it, like the when there's
Oh,
because it's just so
nice.
humid here, so humid.
Yeah,
It's
rub it
beautiful.
in, doll, rub
It's
it in.
absolutely glorious down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I'm sure it is glorious, love. Right, so we're talking today about motherhood, doll. Right, so
Motherhood.
motherhood. So you're a mum, I'm not. So it's a bit confusing here, but we're going to be talking about motherhood with children versus motherhood with a fur baby. Okay, so that's the only experience of motherhood I've had so far. So we're going to be talking about kids and fur babies today.
I think a lot of people, well, no, that's an assumption. So I had kids fairly young. I was barefoot and pregnant. I had 3 kids by 25. Yeah, 3 lovely boys by the age of 25. I was the eldest of 5 kids and the eldest of like 14 grandchildren, cousins of mine. And then I became a babysitter and a nanny at one point, and then I went straight into motherhood. So for me, it was something that just I felt very comfortable in that nurturing space. I think children are absolutely amazing. They are our future, so I took that quite seriously.
They are. They're little darlings, bless them.
They are. I was thinking, so what are the topics that people find the most interesting when they're talking to me about motherhood, something that they've gone, oh, wow, like that's interesting. One of them was discipline methods. That's quite a topic. It's something that everyone
Oh, yes.
can relate to, you as a teacher and as a fur mum, like that discipline is
Yeah, absolutely.
necessary. So how do we do it?
Definitely.
So I've got 3 beautiful boys now, but they will be 3 young men and then 3 men eventually. So I figured when they were little, and I guess my experience of an expressive therapist helped this as well, which was where I was sort of giving people education, nurturing and support around how to express yourself in a healthy way, whether it was through music or
definitely.
art or sand play. So what I realised fairly early on the piece was that if you break the energy circuit somehow, they seem to gets their attention very quickly. So I thought a bit of opera singing might help that. So you just launch straight into some sort of big operatic masterpiece that you've made up on the spot.
Yeah.
About,
And
danger.
it's a distraction, isn't it?
Oh, it was a distraction, 101, And a lot of my friends were, we were young, so a lot of my friends were, I just remember this one particular friend and she said, look, can you give us a lift? And I said, yeah, I've got the kids with me. So she said, she'd had a big night out, bless her. And
Bless, yeah,
I
we've
went
all
and picked
been
her
there.
up. Yeah, I went and picked her up in the car, very dusty. She got in the front seat, kids were in the back strapped in their chairs. And they were being toddlers and, messing with each other, and it got pretty loud in the back there. And I just started breaking into song about how we keep our hands to ourselves, And my friend was looking at me and she said, I could vomit. I could actually throw up right now.
She was thinking, are
because
you all right there, love?
Yeah, she said, I'm so hungover and that is so loud and just it's full on. And I said, well, that's how it goes around here, And the kids were just like stunned mullets in the back. So again, I don't know if this is right or not. I'm not saying that this is correct parenting, but it sure did stop them mucking around with each other in the back seat so Mum could drive. I'll give you the hot tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it's that sort of thing where they wonder what on earth's going on here? How come we've been through this whole, thing of anger and feeling these emotions to a little sing-song? So really it's probably a complete deterrent. It completely just distracts them from what's going on. I mean, that's like that, there's this new trend at the moment on TikTok when there's, I don't know if you've seen it, but when there's a child having a meltdown,
Oh, and they
right?
call out the other.
Parent is there. Yeah, when the
Yeah.
parent is there, they just call out a random name. So the
Yep.
the child is losing their mind, and then the dad or mum goes, Jennifer,
Yeah.
Jennifer, and then
See-
all of a
see-
sudden the kid stops thinking, who the hell's Jennifer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the distraction.
It is.
You know?
I totally agree. And when you're making up your own lyrics to the songs, there's a moral to that story. You know, so you are singing and breaking the energy, but you're also telling a story about how inappropriate it is to keep your hands off, keep your hands to yourselves. We don't
Yeah.
scream in a car. We don't touch the burning stove. We don't run across the road, and it's all just done in a bit of a musical calamity. And I guess the other thing is I never said anything that I didn't follow through with. So I wanted them to know that when I said
That's
things,
key.
that when I said things I was going to make, which is very, very challenging, having the foresight to sort of know. I'm sure there was blunders there, but one of the things I did was in the middle of the shopping centre, and I said, and we had a whole big pile of shopping, and I said, if you misbehave again, then I will leave all of this shopping here and we will walk out and that'll be it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that happened. Yeah. And I left the shopping
Good.
trolley there and I went to the front and I
Follow
said,
through. Yep.
so can you just pop all of this in the fridge out the back? I'll come and get it later. And I drove them and they were just
Yeah,
devastated
yeah.
because they had their little treats in there and everything, and I was like, well, no,
Exactly.
tough.
They need
And
to know boundaries. They need to know consistency and consequences.
That's exactly the key. And also they're going to be adults one day. So, I think everybody just wants to be accepted at baseline. We've talked about this before, humans, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so if you're out in public and there's certain things that are appropriate and not appropriate, it's important to learn. Lack of boundaries and things I just felt it wasn't helpful to the children. Do you know what I mean? Because it just is confusing when they go
absolutely.
to school and they're asked to do all these things within the boundaries and they're getting in trouble for things that they just genuinely... It's like, well, yeah, I can run amok outside this space. I'm not sure why you're being so mean.
And that's the thing, children, and I say this from a teacher's perspective, sometimes, when you set the boundaries, they see it as you said, being mean or being unfair. But the thing is, once you explain to them why, usually they understand, oh, okay. Like if I say to one of the kids, please don't run on the concrete, you're going to hurt yourself. They seem to catch on. Oh, sometimes they go ahead and they hurt themselves. And I say, well, hello. What did I say to you, love? Sometimes they learn the hard way, but sometimes it does deter them. They know that you have their best interest at heart. But in regards to being a fur mama, boundaries is absolutely key. It is key. For those of you at home, I have a little Cavoodle named Toby. He's 7 months now to the day. He's a little sweetheart, but he's a little handful. Yeah, and he you give them an inch, they take a mile. It's that sort of thing where one moment you let them do something and then they just have that little bit of freedom, that little bit of independence. Yeah, okay, go out for the first time by yourself outside in the backyard. Mummy will come inside and we'll just watch you on the camera to see how things are going. What does he do? Goes straight for the dirt, starts digging down to the bottom of the planet.
Party time.
And I'm just thinking, well, you know what? So I gave you a chance and they just take it. Same with children. You give them an inch, they take a mile. It's hilarious. But he is my son and I raise him to have a respectful nature. And I try my best. There's nothing worse when he goes over a house and all of a sudden he starts jumping on their lounges. And I go, Toby, what did we say? What did we talk about at home? Do you know what I'm saying? I treat him like an actual kid.
Yeah.
I talk to him in full sentences like he understands what I'm saying. But chances are he has no idea what's going on. Bless his little soul. But, yeah, he's in the teenage years at the moment. So he is becoming his own little being and he is, oh yes, so he's testing the boundaries. I mean, he absolutely adores my slippers. He knows, don't touch mummy's slippers. But he thinks they're fluffy, like a fluffy toy or something. He's got every single toy under the sun for his cognitive development, gross motor skills. They're all there for him. He's got at least 15 toys for each little need, right? Cognitive stimulation, etc. And what he does is he goes for my slipper or goes for a leaf or a stick. And I'm like, so I've gone to Pep Barn and I've spent God knows how much on you to go and get my slipper. And I just think to myself, why do I bother? I may as well just give you a little piece of paper, roll it up in a ball and throw it at you. And maybe
Yeah,
you'll be
well,
hunky-dory with that. Because other than that, it's frustrating.
and you
And,
will.
you give them all these beautiful meals.
Yeah.
And these little animals, they've become so domesticated now. Like, they expect this, they expect that. And, I've got to heat his mince. I've got to heat his meal because he won't eat it cold.
Oh, that's the
He's a
poodle in
little
him.
fuss pot. He really is. Oh, I tell ya, it's just never good enough for my little boy. And you know what? I just say, here it is. If you want it, have it. If you're starving, you'll eat it. So I'm going to leave this there for you and appreciate this meal later. The funny thing is, though, is he'll munch on mulch. So, again, it's that same thing. He's got this beautiful meal waiting for him with his frozen vegetables. He's got his mince. He's got his polony stuff that's expensive stuff, plus his Royal Canine Bickies. But yet he goes outside and munches on a piece of mulch. And I go, what do you want from me? Like, what is the point of this? Yeah, it's a shambles. But I wouldn't trade him for the world, Dale. I wouldn't trade him.
No, of course not. And this is the thing.
But,
a couple of differences between the two of us is that I dare say you can pop him in a pen and walk away from him for a couple of hours.
We do. We have the timeout pen. Bless.
It's tough. It's as you say, like you get them ready for the world. In your case, you're taking him over to people's houses and he misbehaves, and it's just like it's secondhand embarrassment. You just go immediately to, oh my gosh, this is not what we don't do this at home. Just so you know.
Exactly. It's so embarrassing, especially when I go to my mother and father-in-law, and they're so understanding. They love him to bits, and but then he goes and jumps right on their lounge and just makes himself at home. And I'm thinking, no, love, we don't do that. You have some manners here. We've taught you manners, and it goes straight out the window when he gets overstimulated and excited.
But it is really important to let them be sometimes too. Just let them be. Let them be kids. Let them be puppies.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't last. It doesn't. They become with the dogs. I find they get old quicker than you anticipated. There's this old energy that comes over them much quicker than you anticipate. Where children it's sort of a slow pull, and you meet new mums or
very slow
mums with young kids, and you're like, and they look at you and they go, "Don't you dare tell me that they grow up so quickly, because right now it feels like eternity." And I'm like, I absolutely get you.
Yeah.
And that is so. It does feel like a long time, but truly and honestly, one day you look at your little beautiful children, toddlery children, and then they're adults, and you're like, you still see them in that way. You still see them as these.
And you go, what happened?
It just was so quick. It's a good, if you want to segue into our news segment, what in the world? Because we can't afford another jingle.
What in the world? Yeah, there you go. I'll just say, what in the world?
Says.
That's what I'm going to do. What she says. No. So what in the world, Larnz? What has been happening on our planet this past week?
I thought I'd segue after your fur baby analysis, because there is a news article that came out about the Brethren Church, who have put a stipulation as part of their religious core that everyone has to get rid of their pets, because pets distract your time with God.
Oh, no, please don't.
No. So people have been giving away, rehoming their pets, their cats and their dogs that they've had for ages, years, months, whatever.
I'm speechless, because I couldn't even think of giving Toby away. That's unbelievable. Distracting.
Isn't it? They're saying that inside the homes of people, it's getting distracted from their time with God inside their own home, so the animals need to go.
They're so significant. They contribute so much to society in the way of they treat you values and morals of being gentle, having responsibility, which
of course.
I feel like they promote those qualities and values.
Totally agree.
That's unbelievable. That's a really sad thing that they feel they have to do that. And it's sad for the pets as well, because obviously we're their parents. Do you know what I mean? We're the people that, look after them, give them food and love and cuddles and all of those things. And all of a sudden it's just, gone. And it's just devastating. Well, I'll give you a light-hearted piece of news. This one was great. I had a good old chuckle with this. There is a new species of fish, right, that were discovered in the Great Barrier Reef. So back in 2001, so a long while ago, they discovered this fish. The fish resembles Mr. Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street. I've seen pictures of this fish. It does look like Mr. Snuffleupagus. This man went to research again into this Snuffleupagus fish, right? And they went to the Great Barrier Reef and they managed to find a male and a female, which was the first time because they only found one gender back in 2001. So they made it their mission to find a duo, and they did. And so what happened was they contacted Sesame Street. I'm serious. They contacted Sesame Street to ask for the rights to have them be known as Snuffleupagus.
Wow.
And Sesame Street said, yes, absolutely, we support that. Let's
crazy.
go for
They
it.
said
Yeah,
yes to that.
How funny.
That is hilarious. But so, a couple of questions. How big is the fish?
Yeah, well, I didn't delve in that intensely, but it's got like it's not fluff, obviously, because fish don't have fluff. It appears fluffy, so anyone have a look at it. Type in Snuffleupagus fish and you will see this amazing little creature. It makes me think as well, like trying to think of a name of a species. Like, what about the person who first discovered that blobfish? You know, the blobfish. I mean, that poor little soul is just, and
What
they actually look
blobfish?
really
The
different underwater.
jellyfish?
Apparently they look like, yeah, no. You know that pink blobfish thing that went viral ages ago? It looks like just like a blob face. Have you seen that one?
I think someone's pulling
No,
your
I'm
leg.
serious. I'm not pulling it. No, it's a real species. There's this fish. No, shush now. It's a deep water fish, right? So it looks completely different underwater, right? And then somehow it goes up to the surface and it turns into a blob-like figure. It's got like a nose, a mouth, and beady. Seriously, you've got to see that blobfish, Larnz. You've got to see it.
Now I'm going to
I'll
set
show
my
you after.
algorithm
It's
again
ridiculous.
to nonsense.
Yeah, well, give it a Google, doll. But yeah, no, it came up on my socials the other day, and I went, "Oh, this is the story. This is it."
Really, it wasn't just a remnants of it. It was like, oh my gosh, we've actually got the little elephant down here.
Yes, he's the elephant. Yeah, the mammoth thing.
Mammoth,
Yeah. Google it, guys, please. Don't make me a liar here, because I think Lance is a bit sceptical here. So if you could just give it a Google and just reassure her.
Yeah, the blobfish is a bit. Look, I'm wondering if that was a gag.
Hang on a minute. How have you? No, it's not a gag doll. Honestly, I'm going to send you a picture later.
So that was what in the world. So strangely enough, we've both, because we don't talk to each other about what our news articles are, do we? So or our trending topics are.
No,
so
we keep it secret.
We've both, once again, the two fishes are in sync, and they've come to today with animal topics. So that's crazy.
I've even got my bulldog mug here.
Oh,
I've even got my
how
bulldog mug
cute.
here, and that was an
Isn't he a
accident.
sweetheart. Oh.
Yeah, so that was that, everyone. Please tune in next time for our next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today on our motherhood and also our What in the World.
Yeah, what in the
So we will see you next time.
Bye.
Oh,
Bye,
dear.
friends.
See ya. Bye.